Well, I want to talk about the small burns now. I'm obviously driving home from Oshawa, Ontario, where I watched Ollie finish second in his baseball tournament. On my way home, I stopped to watch Tactical Mounds, a winner. First lifetime start at Georgian. You know, for you guys out there, it doesn't always work out well, but when I tell everybody we're taking our time, there's usually a reason. And that doesn't always mean it's a bad thing. Obviously, that was proven well with 3 Point Blue Chip last year, but Tactical Mounds, not quite the same caliber. She had very, very nice filly, but at the same token, need a little bit extra time. We gave it to her, and tonight for a filly was quiet at the gate, took her back to last, and then moved her at the quarter pole in the mud, and was out the whole way and fought on to win by a head. You know, it's funny, my father just sent me a message. He watches all the races. That if I'm in them, or James or Mark, my dad watches them all. He said pretty hard not to give her top marks for that trip, and he's 100% right. So let's get to the burns. Adrenaline Rush raced good the other night. You know, obviously he dug himself a big hole. He broke his leg last year, this horse. He had screws put in his cannon bone. Then he come back and he had some weird and odd abdominal abscess that needed treating. It was quite costly. So dug us a pretty good financial hole to carry around with us for a bit, but you know, he raced great the other day. There's no two ways about it. I'm glad for Deb, glad for all my partners on Adrenaline Rush. The horse raced good. Dewey, Dwayne Marfisi, his nickname is Dewey. He has chocolate for lunch now, and as I said, you know, he's a very humble man. I said he was a world-class trainer, and he said, easy now. Well, he has been since I've known him, so the guy does a great job. And I'll be the first to admit, you know, I had talked to one of our clients. We went back and forth about chocolate for lunch, and I said, you know, I didn't realize until after we had the conversation, actually, truthfully speaking, that she had paced at 55 because the tote board wasn't working that night. I watched the race. I knew that I thought they, just by the way their body language, I thought 57. I thought she was good. A mile and 55 was good, but she still got a long way to go to be a true, you know, a true sire staker or even grassroots filly. Right now, she just has a lot of question marks and an interesting prospect, but not quite there yet. But nevertheless, take nothing away from her. That was a good mile the other day, 55 and a piece. I would have liked to see her drive away and win, but that would mean she would have to win in 55 flat or 54 and 4. So I'll leave that to Dwayne Marfisi. Obviously, she raced good, regardless of what you call it or what she might be. She raced good the other day. Let's see where that leads to. 3 Point Blue Chip, I'm still waiting for that. Hey, here's a video of him jogging. That would be so exciting, considering, you know, what had happened to him and his way back to the what we hope is some sort of staking program salvaged at the end of the year. But man, for him to do that, it would just be extraordinary in my mind. And from what I'm hearing, it's still all the boxes being checked. He's doing everything well. Everything is going according to plan. So I'm waiting with bated breath, the same as you are. Brett and Stacy Miller of Kings County. I talked about that briefly in the opening, how some people are saying, you know, it was a bad drive last week. Listen, I think Tyler Smith would tell you it was a bad drive too. That happens. It's the way it is. Once you make up your mind to take your horse back and sit 7th rather than go towards the lead, much like I did with Spitfire Overseas, his first stake race in the Meadows, yeah, it can turn out to be a bad drive. And in both those cases, it was. I had to eat it, and so does Tyler. And I'm sure as a driver, he's driven enough winners to know, hey, man, I wish I had that race back. So with the heat and everything going on, Stacy and Brett opted to go easy with the horse. I don't blame them. He has paid into the Charlie Hill down in Ohio this year, and he is paid into some of the bigger stake races in September in Ontario also. So interested to see where all this is going to lead with Kings County, because he's just a tremendous trotter and he's been very, very good for us. Mark Beckwith has Bomb Hugger and Patrick the Piranha A, two very nice horses. I think Bomb Hugger, he said he was entering her in, if I'm not mistaken, he told me he was going to enter Bomb Hugger in, I'm on the 407 and there's a traffic jam. I purposely took this road so there wouldn't be a traffic jam. This is an abomination. Anyway, Sunday in Ontario. Wowzers. Anyway, Bomb Hugger, I believe, will be in this Friday, and Patrick DePrana. They changed the races from Sunday to... That's how hot it is in Massachusetts, that they actually postponed an entire card 24 hours to get it raced. So, Monday, Patrick DePrana will go in the $50,000, I think it's $50,000 final of... That might be Mark's dad. I forget the name of the Beckwith. It's a Beckwith Memorial. I'm sure he's related. It might be his father. I'm not sure, to be honest. A little embarrassed to say I don't know. Now, Ryan Swift had Silent Assassin Day. A lot of people asking, and I think there was a bit of a mix-up. Ryan had texted me after the stake race, and I said, hey, just send the filly back to Northfield. We'll race her up here, blah, blah, blah. She said, oh, there's a cheap race on Sunday. Do you want to race her in there? And I'm thinking, she didn't get raced really hard. She needs a little experience. Yeah, I'm thinking maiden. She ended up in an overnight race with older horses. Now, I didn't watch the end of the race because she made a break at the gate. Drew the rail, which isn't going to help a 2-year-old trotter like her on a half-mile track. She's coming to Northfield Park tonight, where we'll work on her, and I'll get a real good look at her Thursday. We are aiming for that Monticello start. Somebody said, well, why aren't we going to Yonkers? Well, clearly, if she has trouble from the rail at Batavia, where she's stabled today, I don't think I'd roll the dice in stakes action. I have zero interest in shipping her all the way to Yonkers to race for $7,500 in the Distinction C or whatever it's called. And then the B, she was a little outgunned last time. I think this is a filly that's kind of a tweener, right? In between a bunch of classes. And we need, first off, to get her wheels back on tight and straight and get her moving forward. So I'll go with her Thursday morning in a... now, she doesn't have to qualify. So I'll go with her in a schooler probably Thursday morning. I have to qualify... our boy Brace for Landing on Thursday, and I'll go the schooler with Silent Assassin just to see what's going on with her. I'll get a look at her when I'm up there anyway this week. Tuesday, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I'll get a look at her on Thursday morning, but I'll see what her shoes look like and how she seems trotting. I'll have Jason jog her a couple of days, and then we'll formulate a plan. I'll get her behind the gate Thursday. If everything goes as well as I hope it will, we will, again, extrapolate from there and formulate a plan for her to race in Monticello in the next Saturday, in the next Excelsior B. Sorry, not Extinction, Excelsior. Jason Robinson has Blue Bayou Dio now. Walk on the Moon is back at Northfield Park now. I shipped him back to Northfield Park. He blew a big quarter crack, but Jason is going to the Red Mile, and Walk on the Moon's not going anywhere near the Red Mile. He may show up in Plain Ridge. Mark told me there is a class he can fit for 3 wins at Plain Ridge, so you might see Walk on the Moon head towards Plain Ridge. We have to fix that quarter crack first. Now, Jason told me it was a pretty big quarter crack. We'll assess that tomorrow with the blacksmith and go from there. Ross Leonard, a number of people saying, why is Massive Profit back in? It looked like he was sick the other day. Don't read too much into a race, right? There's so many things that can cause a horse to race, good or bad, that it's very difficult to look at a video and say, oh, this is what's wrong or that's what's wrong. You don't even have remotely the full picture. You're just seeing a glimpse of what could be wrong. Now, what it turned out to be, I know what Ross Leonard had said that he wanted to race him with flip-flops on. I think we tried him in flip-flops, and I wasn't very impressed here. But at the same token, the horse is growing. I haven't seen him in a while. And if the blacksmith, the vet, and Ross have decided that he needs a little support in his feet and flip-flops might be the way to go, then by all means, go ahead and try and race him that way. And I believe that's what you saw the other day. I thought it was, and then was reaffirmed when I spoke to Ross pretty quickly. He said, I don't, everything was fine. He said, I might have been they call them racing flops there. I assume they mean flip-flops, same as we have. He said he thought it was the racing flops, and I said, well, I would say you're probably right. So they're going to have to work a little harder on his feet, maybe just jog him and train him in flip-flops, and then throw normal shoes on him to race. We've done that in the past. That might be something he could do also. Mopower Baby was fantastic in her second start for Ross Leonard and Mike Oosting. She's like 4 or 5 to 1 in the final, going for $25,000 this week. I see her on the list, so must be Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. Megan Scran has Crantini now. Also, Taiwan blew a pus pocket out of her foot. Her blacksmith was working on it. Megan was working on it. And they figure now, after looking at everything that went on at the Meadows, that both Scotty and her believe that this pus pocket was probably festering and really what was causing her to become a little ornery, throw her head, and ultimately make a break in the first turn. So they're working on that, going to get her back ready. She fits the final. She'll race in the final, hopefully have it prepped before then and be sharp, because she does have a stake race back in Ontario, a couple of them actually, in the fall. Now that's all the small stables, I believe. I got Dewey this week. I got Megan. Tim's in a bigger barn, so we'll be back in a minute. We'll start it off with Tim Twaddle's barn in just a minute.